Well, Quita, we have just arrived here just a few minutes ago at this target here on 8601 Research Boulevard. And as you can see right behind me, there is quite a large law enforcement presence. I've seen at least 4 EMS trucks. I see several police cars. I see Austin Fire. Now, this is the closest that we can go. They advise us that we strictly stay here close to the bushes. But here's what we know so far about this shooting incident. What we know is that the suspect, as you mentioned earlier, is still at large. The suspect is described as a male who is possibly wearing khaki shorts, a Hawaiian and floral shirt. They are asking the public do not approach, and we see a lot of witnesses here from nearby businesses just wondering and watching what is going on. But as I said, this is the closest that they can go. From what we also know so far, what EMS has told us on social media, there are 4 patients involved. As I mentioned earlier, this is all very preliminary, and we are just finding out more information as it unfolds. I am constantly talking in to law enforcement to keep us updated on some information, but I want to toss it back to you once we have more information. Stay safe if you're around this area, but we are live on Research Boulevard. Isabella Basco for KVUE News.
Hawaiian shirt. So let's talk a little bit about this area. What are the big stores or big locations, markers that might be around?
Well, this is a very busy shopping mall. It has a Target. It has a number of smaller stores, a lot of restaurants. And as every time I go by it, every time I'm there, it is extremely busy. Lots and lots of people in that parking lot and at all of the different stores and restaurants around. So,
of course, the middle of the day.
Exactly.
So it would be teeming with customers at this time. It's near 183 in Olin, so that's around the area where Anderson meets 183. It is just to the north of downtown, maybe about 5 to 8 miles north of downtown. Actually not very far from where we are. But what we also know about the law enforcement investigation at this time is, of course, the first priority is to try to find the gunman. We don't yet know, and authorities are still trying to piece together the exact type of weapon that was used. I can also tell you that the highest levels of the Austin Police Department, including the police chief, have arrived at the scene. They are trying to assess the situation as well. Again, one of the things that they are also trying to do is gather instantly security video from inside the store. That will be a key piece of this investigation. I say inside the store, but also outside the store as well. And we can anticipate that as quickly as they can identify that gunman in those videos, that they will likely release at least a screen grab to the public to help identify the shooter as well. That is, of course, tantamount to this investigation at this time to get that person into custody, considering them, and they are asking the public at this time to consider them armed and dangerous. I'm actually going to step away.
You're getting a call right now to get some information.
Exactly.
We're showing, if we can go back to the live pictures and just show you, Quita and Tony both mentioned just how busy this area may be at this time of day in the middle of a Monday. And these live pictures show that parking lot full of cars, a lot of commotion right there. And in the area where this has happened on Olin and 183, you can probably expect some congestion if you're driving or you know someone who's driving in that area, as police have been cordoning off as they try to find the suspect and also attend to those who have been injured.
Exactly. And again, we want to break it all down into what we know and what we don't know right now. Right now, we do know that there was a shooting at this particular Target at Olin and 183. You can see from the video we have right now, the live shot we have right now, a very large police presence. EMS is there as well. A number of people have been shot. We are hearing reports that there could be as many as 2 people that are deceased at this time. And the suspect, a white male wearing khaki shorts, a Hawaiian or floral shirt. And they say if you do see this man, do not approach him.
We just call 911. Let police know where you're seeing them so they can pinpoint where he is. Our Tony Plahetsky just returned to the desk here with us, just fresh off the phone. Tony, have you learned any extra information?
I have. received confirmation, this is coming from the police chief herself, Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis, is confirming that that suspect is now in custody. So that is certainly some good news from the Austin Police Department coming from the police chief. Again, confirmation that this gunman is now in custody. I was not able to get a lot of details about how and where that happened exactly, but she did say that officers have done superior work just within the last few minutes, locating this gunman and taking him into custody. Just in a very brief conversation we had too, as you can imagine, there's a lot happening in this very dynamic scene, so this was a very brief conversation. But what law enforcement is also confirming is, again, we reported this earlier, there are 2 deceased people at this scene. There are 3 or more, anywhere from 3 to 5 people shot, but it is my understanding that one of those is also a child. A child survivor has been shot. And it's not entirely clear yet whether or not this was random or not. Another piece of information that we were able to learn is that apparently in the Target parking lot, this gunman was able to carjack a car and flee at least some distance before police officers were able to find that person and stop him and arrest him.
And of course, a couple of questions after that as the person who owned the car, is that person okay, or one of the victims involved in this shooting? And also the attention turns to those who have been hurt in that parking lot, getting them to the hospital, getting medical care for them.
Exactly, and some of them were continuing to be treated according to Austin Travis County EMS officials were continuing to work on some of the victims en route to the hospital as well. But again, tragically, we now know that at least two people have been pronounced deceased as a result of this attack.
A word to our viewers out there, this is an area you may want to avoid, as it is now a crime scene, and police will be processing that for the next several hours, we are sure.
And because I know the area was extremely busy right now at this time when the shooting actually happened. Families, parents, children, back to school shopping at this Target. So you will want to avoid this area. You can see police, a number of police, a very large police presence and EMS on the scene at that Target at 183 and Olin right now, processing the scene, looking for more information, speaking to witnesses, and helping out the victims.
When we came on air, we were told that a suspect was still at large. Our Tony Plahetsky has been in contact with the chief of the Austin Police Department and gave us a relief of an update that we know now that person has been taken into custody and is no longer a threat to the public. That is some good news we're able to share with you.
Definitely good news. Now, apparently, from what Tony has told us and what the chief told him, the suspect was taken into custody after carjacking a car, I believe, from that Target parking lot and getting quite a distance away before being caught by police. So what we don't know right now, where he was apprehended, we don't know a motive for this shooting. Still so many questions that need to be answered. And I know Austin police are going to be speaking about this later on today.
As they try to piece together all of the information, again, authorities also, it is possible that they could also seek additional law enforcement resources from the FBI, which could possibly become involved in this, as they try to piece together what sort of motivation may have been behind the attack as well. That is one thing that they are trying to understand at this time. But again, tragically, we know at least two people, according to both law enforcement and Austin Travis County EMS, have been confirmed deceased. We also know that a child was also shot as a result of all of this as well. And again, officials trying to, number one, learn everything they can about the suspect at this time, including that person's identity. And in addition to that, learn as much as they can as well about the victims, including, tragically, notifying the families of the two victims who have died as a result of this gunfire.
And Tony, let me ask you really quickly, in your talks with the chief of the police department and your sources at APD, have they said whether or not this arrest came without incident? incident or if there was a confrontation?
That's unclear. Again, just working off very preliminary and very fast-moving information as well. I think the point was to just report that the public threat, the imminent public threat, had ended, and that was the main bulletin, if you will, that law enforcement wanted us to know, because of course they had urged people to remain highly vigilant as this was all unfolding this afternoon.
And I want to bring in our Darenisha Heron now. Darenisha, you have more information about everything that's unfolding.
Right, I'm tracking social media very closely for any updates, and Austin Police Department just posted that the 8,000 block of Mopac southbound frontage is shut down between Executive Center Drive and Anderson Lane. I know you guys mentioned a lot of congestion in that area could possibly be happening, but now we've confirmed that some roads are shut down in that area. But they did say that the main lanes of Mopac, northbound and southbound, remain open at this moment.
But certainly as we approach rush hour and
Right.
in the coming minutes here, people are going to want to try to find alternate routes.
Right, so if you're watching at this time and you know someone in that area, it might be a good time to give them a call, let them know to find those alternate routes, give police the space that they need to investigate, and the medics enough room to get the victims that need to get to a hospital out of there.
Exactly, try to avoid the area as much as possible, pretty much.
Again, if you don't have to go out, don't. Just stay where you are. But avoid the area around Olin and 183. Avoid the area Darenisha was telling us about. But some good Mopac and southbound
shut down between Executive Center Drive and Anderson Lane.
When this call came in, this was a full call out, as you saw in those live pictures there. The fire department there as well. We understood that police, fire, most likely the coroner's office and Travis County are responding to this target on 183 and Olin.
Just a short distance from where we are, as a matter of fact.
Here in North Austin, that is correct.
And certainly this will be an investigation that involves high levels of the Austin Police Department. We've not had an incident like this happen in some period of time. And so there will be a massive investigation shepherded and headed by the Austin Police Department Homicide Division. But again, based on information we're also getting, it will be an open question as to whether or not federal investigators become involved in this investigation as well. And if they determine, again, this is very preliminary information, but for example, if they were to determine that there may have been some sort of nexus to a larger crime effort or some sort of potential terrorist, again, no one is saying that at this point, or whether or not these victims and suspect may have been known to each other in some way. That is all part of the investigation. And as they make those determinations, that will of course direct the direction of the investigation as well, and will help determine whether or not this is an investigation that resides within the Austin Police Department or whether or not they work in collaboration with some sort of federal agency as well.
And this is, of course, a developing story happening now, new pieces coming in all the time. Let's update you and just sort of wrap up everything that we know so far. A shooting happened earlier this afternoon at the Target at Olin and 183. That's in the 8600 block of Research Boulevard.
And we do understand that there are 2 dead. APD confirming that to our own Tony Plahetsky, letting us know that there are 2 casualties, 2 deaths in this situation, but we don't know how many people have been shot in total. We do understand a child is among the victims, although it is unclear if the child has survived or if the child is among the deceased.
It is my understanding that the child victim is a survivor at this time.
Goodness.
That is my
That's good to
understanding.
hear.
Yeah.
That's good. We also understand that the roads around this target at Olin and 183 are blocked. Our Darenisha Heron has been tracking social media and letting us know which roads you need to avoid, which roads will be closed, especially as we do approach the rush hour.
Yes, and as I said, I've been tracking social media, just trying to see what people are posting, Facebook, Reddit, and we're starting to see more reports from people who were in that area. And so I've reached out to a few to see if anybody could talk to us, to see what they witnessed, see what they heard. I know this is all developing and happening very quickly, so hopefully we can bring that to you guys as well.
And part of the investigation does usually involve that social media aspect.
Exactly.
Because these are people with video, witnesses that are out there, and police usually look at all that.
Exactly. So hopefully that'll give us some more insight as to what happened as Tony is talking to investigators who are there on the scene.
All right. Thank you so much, Darrenisha. And again, shooting at a Target store in the 8600 block of Research Boulevard this afternoon. A number of victims, at least 3, and unfortunately 2 people have been declared deceased. They have died during this shooting incident.
Our Isabella Basco is one of our crew members on the scene right there, getting the latest information, talking to witnesses that are there, and talking to any of the investigators that might be able to update us in just a bit. We had her live pictures that we showed you, which showed plenty of first responders in the area, the cars, a packed parking lot that was in that area. And so we'll be checking in with her. And we're hoping also that Austin Police Department does give an update.
Right, that's what I'm just looking at right now to see if Austin EMS has said anything or if Austin Police has said anything. At this point, they have not said much, but we do know that they put a staging area together for the media, so we're all there gathered to get more information. They haven't gave a time for a press conference just yet, but I'm sure they'll be updating us with that as soon as possible.
Right. I know Chief Davis, Lisa Davis, is there on the scene. She is also part of this information gathering process. Tony has been speaking with her throughout what's been going on this afternoon, and she's been keeping us updated on everything that we need to know. And again, the person who is suspected of doing this shooting has been taken into custody after, I believe, fleeing that scene. They were taken in. And I know our Isabella Basco is there. Isabella, what more do you have for us?
Yeah, Quita, nothing, no big changes here as of yet. As I kept you posted a few minutes ago, still a really large law enforcement presence here right behind me. I'm going to let our photographer Ron pan and zoom in to show you what we see so far. I see several police trucks here at the Target parking lot and also at the businesses right by it. Just a sea of police trucks and flashing lights. I see a large presence of law enforcement officers or first responders walking into the Target over there. As you can see, we are not quite sure if there are any witnesses there or have walked out. They're keeping boundaries pretty strict here. This is the closest that we can come here to the scene. We see a lot of witnesses just pointing and wondering and waiting on what's happening next. Someone who works with an organization that works with shooting responses came up and asked me what was happening. So some limited information that we can see right here. But we see that traffic is already getting backed up. So if you're on the roads or planning to hit the roads, I just want to advise you to be very careful and really consider avoiding this area as much as you can. I've been approaching some police officers asking if there's anything new, but they are very, very busy and give me very limited information. But as I said, it looks like there's no signs of stopping or no signs of slowing any response here at the Target. It sounds like it's going to be a long day and possibly a long night for them. Yeah, and so I wanted to throw it back to you and see if you had any other questions for me while I'm here on scene.
Isabella, as you're looking around and taking in the scene there, are you seeing other people who are just watching along with you, any bystanders who may have been there? And have those bystanders approached you with any kind of information or questions for you?
Yeah, great question, Mark. So lots of bystanders. I see one bystander right by me, actually 2 bystanders right by me with sets of binoculars just to get a closer look at what's happening. I see some other bystanders. I'm right by a couple of restaurants here, a couple of Asian restaurants right by the Target. There's a lot of witnesses. Not any from what I see with their phones out, but just watching and wondering and waiting for what's happening next. I did have, you asked if any approached me. I did have a couple, one young woman who approached me who asked me, is there an active shooter out here? And at the time they were looking for him, and that was right before police announced they had taken him into custody. So there was a lot of concern on whether anyone was going to be safe here, which is incredibly valid. As you were mentioning, back to school shopping is in gear. People are here with their children, getting ready for the school year to be started up. So, and considering what we're seeing right now, it's a very, very active and very concerning situation. So many were just wondering, should I still be worried if someone's going to approach me? Is there someone out there? Am I in danger? But now that they have someone in custody, and it looks like that news is circulating, people now are just wondering what's next, and that's something that we're waiting on too.
One more question for you, Isabella. As you are in this parking lot, which is now a crime scene that is cordoned off, can you tell if any people are stuck, shoppers who may still be in their cars that cannot leave the area, or have police been working to clear the parking lot for innocent bystanders that may need to get away from that area?
That's a great question. I haven't seen any shoppers leaving the Target. So I haven't heard anything from police. Right now they're staying pretty tight-lipped here on the scene but I do see some people outside the Target who might, and it looks like one of them is an employee because they have a name tag. So what I'm sure is happening is that they're keeping things, they're keeping the investigation pretty active by keeping people who might have been at the Target inside within their watch to get any information or get any questions answered. As you see here, there are a lot of cars here, probably people back to school shopping, getting their groceries at the beginning of the week, things like that. So I haven't seen anyone exit that Target. So it's a pretty safe assumption, or it's a pretty safe bet to say that many are still in close proximity with law enforcement, or law enforcement is keeping tabs on them to see if they can get any questions answered. But basically what I'm seeing, lots of cars, but no people going in and out of them.
All right, I know the store has been shut down for now just because of this investigation. Isabella Basco, live at the scene today at 183 and Olin Road. Isabella, thank you so much. And I know we want to throw it to our own Malia Masamoto, who is also gathering information about this breaking news, the shooting that has happened at this Target. Malia, what do you know?
Well, we're over here by the Advanced Auto Parts. This is where the APD is set to have a press briefing in just a little bit. Actually, someone from EMS just came over and told us that should be happening soon. So hopefully we'll get to know more information about what's going on here. You can probably see there's a lot heavy police presence over here at this center where they're kind of stationed here as well. We're also seeing some people as well here in victim services talking to them. So there are some people inside the crime scene tape right here, probably waiting for answers, I would imagine. But again, this press briefing is set to be happening soon here. They have not given us an exact time at this moment, but as soon as we know, we're going to bring you that information. We will be right here listening to what they say and update you on that as soon as we find that out.
All right, thank you so much, Malia. And I know earlier we were speaking about how these sort of shootings don't really happen that often here in Austin. I believe the last one was back in 2023, if my memory is correct. And that is when a suspect named Shane James Jr. killed a number of people in different parts of the city.
Just a tragic situation, and happening at a tragic time. A lot of people are getting ready for a new school year, back to school shopping at a busy Target store, people out with their young ones, picking up those last minute things to start off the new school year in the right way. Time now is 3:30. If you're just joining us, let's reset the breaking news that we are following for you at this hour in North Austin. Confirmed shooting at a Target store at Olin and 183. That's in North Austin, a busy part of the city. And we've had several developments since we've come on air around 3 o'clock. First of all, this shooting happened around 2:45. That's when we got wind of it here in our newsroom.
That's right. And of course, a very large police presence, EMS, a number of emergency vehicles immediately dispatched to that area. They were searching for a suspect who was said to be a white male wearing khaki shorts and a Hawaiian or flowery shirt. Thankfully, that person was apprehended. Police tell us that he carjacked a car in that parking lot and took off, and they were able to apprehend him, so there's no longer any danger from him in the public.
Our senior reporter Tony Plahensky has been chatting with his sources at APD, and you've been on the phone. You let us know that the threat was over after that arrest and the carjacking. What do you know now?
Correct. I also just want to add that I just spoke very briefly to Austin Mayor Kirk Watson, who did confirm that he has been notified and is in the process of getting briefed on this situation. As you can imagine, law enforcement is still trying to, frankly, get their arms around this whole situation in order to provide that briefing. But he has received the same preliminary information that we also have received as well. But again, the highest levels now of Austin City government are being briefed on this situation, a real emergency situation that is unfolding and has continued to unfold over the past 90 minutes or so here.
And this was a situation that unfolded, again, about 2:45 o'clock, and by about 3:10, 3:15, an arrest had been made after that carjacking.
Which is a striking development, of course. Law enforcement saying that they moved very, very swiftly. They were able to also get a number of key descriptors from witnesses in that parking lot. And so that was something that they were able to rely upon as well. A description about what the suspect looked like, a description about the kind and make of car that he may be in as well. All of that aided, according to law enforcement, in their ability to swiftly move to track him down and take him into custody without further carnage or bloodshed.
And Tony, I know you were telling us earlier about the number of people who had been shot and the number of people who succumbed to their injuries.
And what we've been able to confirm, both via law enforcement and Austin police, is that there are 2 deceased victims from this shooting. In addition to that, the number of people who have been injured has moved somewhat. We've heard anywhere from 3 up to 5, but no more than 5 at this time. Again, a rapidly moving situation that can, as people are accustomed to, and as we are certainly accustomed to in this type of quickly evolving news event, tragedy, disaster, that facts can change as authorities are trying to piece all of this together. So that's why we're getting some inconsistent information about the number of people who are actually shot. But again, authorities are confirming that there are 2 people who have been killed. And again, also it is our information that one of the victims who was injured was a child, but that child apparently survived that shooting at this time.
And those early minutes do have fluid information with numbers.
Absolutely.
And so we usually don't get the first solid numbers until we get a press briefing, usually for the authorities in charge of the investigation. Our Malia Masamoto is in that area around the target where the police will be staging that news briefing, and we're expecting that at any minute now.
And hopefully as quickly as possible. Of course, those news briefings can also, as we've seen over time, can get pushed back as authorities try to confirm every detail that they are certain of and also comfortable releasing to the public. But again, as this investigation unfolds, it is going to be a very massive investigation involving Austin police at the highest level of Austin police. I just also want to tell you that the Austin Police Department is now, again, publicly confirming what we have already been reporting. Again, they are calling it preliminary information, but this is according to their social media account. 2 deceased victims. A suspect is in custody. The scene is very active, and this is an ongoing investigation at this time. Again, just wanting to say that they are now making official on their social media accounts much of our reporting in the last few minutes as well. But as this investigation continues, it will likely be headed by the Austin Police Department. But again, as they look into everything they can learn about the suspect, it's possible that they will also be broadening the investigation to include maybe other communities. Quita, you referred to the shooting of multiple victims in December 2023. Of course, that shooter, Shane James, came here from another jurisdiction where he had also carried out shootings there. And so that's the type of information that authorities will be working to try to learn. And as they do, of course, can change the scope and direction and focus of any law enforcement investigation. I also have mentioned the possibility as well that if it is deemed necessary, they could also ask federal officials to engage in the investigation as well, depending on what they learn in these very early minutes and hours about the investigation, particularly if there was any sort of particular motivation behind the shooter, whether or not this was just completely random, whether or not these victims and shooter were potentially known to each other. That is also a question. And in addition to that, whether or not they may have been motivated by some other, hate or some other philosophy that could have spurred them to come to the store and carry out this shooting. Again, that is all information that authorities are uncertain about at this time. I raise it only as a possibility of how the investigation could go, and also just to say what they are trying to learn in these early hours of this investigation as well.
Go ahead.
And just sadly, what we do know, two people who made a trip to a store sadly will not be returning home. Correct. Something so routine that all of us do, and two people will not be returning home from it. Let's talk a little bit about the scene there. And you mentioned, Tony, that this will be a very active scene according to police for the next several. But this is a scene that, when we sat down here, Quita, you said you had been to this area yesterday.
I did.
Quite a different one in 24 hours. You
just never know when something is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's just the way, unfortunately, life is. And my heart does break for those people.
It was very busy for a Sunday, I'm sure.
Definitely. Of course, people are getting ready to go back to school. They're trying to get their kids, their families back to school. They go to Target, they're buying clothing, they're buying the school supplies, everything that a child would need. And to know that a child was actually hurt in this just breaks my heart.
Yeah. We are going to be staying on top of this story. Of course, as we learn more, we are bringing it to you on air, but make sure you also get the latest. We're posting it for you at our website at KVUE.com and our social media outlets if you are staying with us throughout the story, but can't stay near with us at your screen. We're getting the latest from our field crews. We have our Isabella Basco in the parking lot area there, as well as our Malia Masamoto. So we have a whole team that is just bringing us the latest on this.
That's right, and we will bring you the police department's live press conference when it is available. I know it's going to take them a little bit of time to continue to gather the information. I know, Tony, they probably will want to look at the video from Target itself. I know they probably have security cameras.
Right, so in the earliest hours of a large-scale investigation like this, typically what would happen is that different police officers who are on the scene are assigned to different functions. So for example, there will be a group who are assigned to interview everyone who is at the scene, anyone who may have been in that parking lot, who could provide any sort of information. What did you see? What did you hear? What did the suspects look like? What were the victims doing? Did they appear to be known to each other? Those are sort of the instantaneous questions that law enforcement will conduct at the scene and keep those witnesses at the scene for some period of time so that they have a chance to not only conduct a very basic public safety interview, as they likely did in the early hours. So for example, just to get enough basic information that they can then get out to the public, as they did in this case, including an early description of the suspect as well. And then they will keep those witnesses at the scene to go back to them once they get that very basic information out, to do a larger interview as well, likely there at the scene. While they are doing that, other investigators are then going inside the store, working with Target, working with their security personnel at the scene and at a corporate level, so that they can also get all of the security video from inside the store, potentially if this was a person who was inside the store, as well as outside the store. As we all know, these big box retailers have very sophisticated, very advanced security systems in place, not only to prevent crime, but also once a crime occurs, to help in the detection of locating a suspect as well. I also just want to say, in addition, that authorities have said, and y'all may have already said this, pardon me if you have, that a media staging area has been set up and a briefing is set for 3:45.
That's just in a few minutes.
Just
4 minutes away,
yeah.
right?
Of course, that time could change. It
That
fluctuates
time
with
could
how the
change.
information comes.
I can also assure you that law enforcement in a situation like this, they are also going to be very judicious about the kinds of information they release to the public. Number one, for a couple of reasons. They don't want to say or do anything that might in some way compromise the integrity of the investigation. But at the same time, they also want to ensure that the information that they are releasing to the public is in fact accurate information, so that there is not some sort of discrepancy that they have to then explain later. That is something that they are, I can assure you, very cognizant of and conscious of, because they know that if misinformation is somehow released, that can potentially erode public trust in what they are saying. So they're very cautious about that as well. So it is possible, if not likely even, we'll see if they are able to begin that news briefing within the next 3 minutes or so.
In the moments following the initial shooting, Tony, that information about the suspect description that we were looking for, a white male with a Hawaiian flowered shirt and khakis, was disseminated very quickly.
Correct.
And we were able to put it to our viewers and to our visitors to our social media of whom to look for. And the arrest came very soon after that. So that is an instance where the information that they released was pertinent
Advantageous,
and
yeah.
advantageous to keep more people safe.
And in addition to that, likely what occurred in this situation is that, of course, multiple police officers mobilized, of course, in their patrol cars. As any big city does these days now, Austin police also have a very sophisticated aviation unit. And so they could have been able to also launch Air One, their air helicopter, as well as any other devices that they have. You know, law enforcement, as times have changed, now have drones that they use in these types of investigations as well, trying to locate people as well. But again, likely searching for this suspect both by air and by ground, which would have enhanced, of course, their ability to find this person and take the gunman into custody in that short period of time.
And you can see how many resources they actually have on this particular incident. Police cars just surrounding this particular area.
Yeah, as I was coming here, this was all coming into the station, actually, as this was in the very early stages. Of course, KVUE is near Steck and Mopac, and I had at least 2 police SUVs race past me, full lights and siren, likely heading to this area as well.
On a regular day, this parking lot would be full of cars with for families who are going shopping. Today, in these live pictures, you're seeing that it is full of police cruisers with lights flashing, investigators, crime scene tape, detectives and forensics experts who will no doubt be actually looking for maybe shells or bullet casings to be used as evidence in this area. So this scene that we're showing you right now is very atypical of what a Target parking lot would look like on a normal day.
And speaking of forensics as well, that will also become part of the investigation. Keep in mind, in this situation, given that they have someone in custody, what that means is that that person will go to trial. And so the investigation will have to be full throttle to try to get all of the information that they can, so that they can then successfully prosecute this person in the months and likely years to come in this situation.
And I know right now they just want to make sure they have everything locked down. The information is airtight because they have 2 victims whose families they have to notify today.
That's right. And that will tragically become a part of this effort by law enforcement as well. Of course, there's a whole unit dedicated, tragically, but a reality in our world, to locating victims of crime, their family members, and making those terrible death notifications. And so that is also part of the law enforcement effort that is unfolding even as we speak.
And taking care of the victims is so key in this moment too, which can get lost in the chaos. Our Malia Masumoto was on scene in a different vantage point in the Target parking lot there, and she was telling us that Victim Services was out talking to witnesses and trying to help those who may have seen what happened or may feel some kind of way in the moment. So that is another team that is on the ground there.
Absolutely, as they are in major events like this, because as you can imagine, even people who survived this but may have witnessed it, or even just the mere hearing the sound of gunfire can, of course, traumatize people significantly. And so law enforcement, again, has an entire victim services unit that will go to a scene like this and offer their services to those people, both victims as well as witnesses, to try to aid them as much as they can in processing, frankly, what they may have seen and heard earlier this afternoon.
And I know it's hard for adults to process this, and I know that there are probably a number of children inside that store and outside as well who are going to be dealing with this. I know everyone is probably traumatized.
I'm reading some of our correspondences with our team in the field and here in the station, and our Isabella Basco is communicating that she's seen a lot of families out there, and many families are hugging and crying as they leave. Just an indication that this is a very emotional time, no matter how you were involved in it. You know, the emotions are high as people are crying, and so a lot of people saying they were too shaken up in the moment to speak, but you can see the emotion in this moment.
Absolutely. Again, just to recap as well, we're awaiting that law enforcement news conference as they assemble all of the information that they are prepared to bring to the public. We have been in touch with the Austin Mayor, Kirk Watson, who said that he had been notified officially through official channels at Austin City Hall and received a preliminary briefing, just the mere basics about the scene and what was unfolding at this time.
And Tony, I know that we haven't had so many incidents like this in Austin, but when we do have them, do you know how APD what training they take away from each one? What will they be putting into this one that they may have learned?
One of the things that they will certainly try to learn is whether or not and how this call came out. Did it come out as an active shooter call, or did it come out as a shooting call? Because that can differentiate how they respond as well. Are they responding to someone who is in that moment firing randomly and rapidly, in which case that would constitute an active shooter and set forward exactly the exact protocols for how police would respond. One thing that they will likely have tried to learn as well is whether or not the gunman had fled the scene by the time someone called 911. It sounds preliminarily like that is what happened here, so they may not have treated this as an active shooter event. Let's take a look. What is happening there? I can see in the picture.
Our photographer has zoomed into this scene, and it looks like it's freezing at the moment, but our photographer has zoomed into the scene beyond the crime scene tape, where it looks like police officers were escorting a group of people down a hill.
Potentially customers or people
or
who've
witnesses.
Been, inside one of the businesses, locked inside one of the businesses as well. Again, as we said earlier, law enforcement doing a lot of different things to try to learn as much as they can, including talking to anybody who may have seen, heard, witnessed, perceived even that something was unfolding inside that store.
And just to update everybody and recap what we know, we are waiting for the police chief to do a go live and tell us more about what's going on. But what we do know so far, a shooting at a Target at Olin and 183 happened at around 2:45 this afternoon. Apparently, between 3 and 5 people were hurt, including a child. 2 people have been pronounced dead at that scene.
Yeah, we've been on the air with you for about 50 minutes at this point. Got in there as soon as we could, right after with the crew on scene there. And we have learned that in that time, the suspect who may have been responsible for this had fled the scene after a carjacking. Police arrested that man a short time later.
Presumably in that car.
Presumably in the car. He was apprehended. Police let us know that the threat to the public was over. And now they're tending to the victims there. Again, we are awaiting a news conference from the Austin Police Department to give us more specifics about numbers, times, what might have unfolded, and the location of that second of the arrest, a second crime scene, so to speak.
Exactly, because there's still so much that we don't know at this point. We don't know victims' names. We don't know the suspects' names. We don't know a motive. There's so much more that we need to find out so that we can bring it to you and continue with this developing story.
Again, we're kind of bringing all of this in real time, keeping in mind that investigators don't know some of these basic facts as well. But given the public emergency nature of it, of course, there is a need for quick dissemination of information. Again, fortunately, that suspect is apprehended according to law enforcement, but there was a period of time where that person was not in custody and was considered armed and dangerous and on the loose.
We also learned that APD says that the roads around that target, Olin and 183, are closed. You can still access northbound and southbound Mopac, but be advised that things could be slow going for any drivers in that area as law enforcement crews get in and medics leave. This is just a very active and moving situation in that area. Again, the roads around that target are blocked. They're off limits to the public. So if that is part of your afternoon routine or your evening commute, you may want to find an alternate route and avoid that area.
Definitely.
Particularly as we approach rush hour. In addition to that, and I know we've said this earlier, that the law enforcement at this moment, as a matter of fact, is trying to determine the motivation, because that will be key as to how this investigation proceeds in the hours to come. Whether or not law enforcement extends the investigation to other jurisdictions, maybe this person may have come here from somewhere else. That will be part of the investigation. They will also be undoubtedly trying to execute search warrants in the hours to come. Those search warrants will often be for any sort of electronic data, so for a person's computer, so that they can monitor and ascertain their Google searches in the days, hours, weeks before what has happened here today. And certainly cell phone data is as a search warrant that law enforcement almost certainly will be seeking, even as we speak, from a district judge here in Travis County, so that they can then get into that person's cell phone, as well as ascertain cell phone data from cell phone companies as well, so that they can try to monitor what kind of searches that person may have been doing on their phone, who they were talking to, phone numbers they were calling, what the contents of their text messages were. All of those types of questions and those kinds of technology-based investigative details will also be part of this investigation. So as we explain all of this, you can certainly see that this will be a large investigation that will unfold within the Austin Police Department, potentially, again, relying on other law enforcement investigative agencies, depending on what they learn in these very preliminary hours.
And this is a large police presence, a large fire department presence and medic presence at this target at the Olin and 183. But the department also has to patrol the rest of the city too. And so that is sometimes, when you have a large scale incident like that, can put pressure on the natural, the day-to-day operations.
Yes, but I will tell you, the fact that this person, the shooter, is now in custody will certainly relieve a lot of the APD resources who may have been otherwise tied up in looking for that person as well. But yes, to your point, this is a huge investigation. It's a major undertaking by law enforcement.
And I know Chief Lisa Davis is still on the scene, along with a number of high-ranking APD officials out there. They are still getting and gathering the information they need to be able to tell us during an upcoming press conference, which is supposed to be happening pretty soon. I know that they had set it for 3:45. It is now 3:55. Again, these sort of press conferences, the information ebbs and flows. Sometimes it comes in a little bit more slowly than they expected, but we are still waiting for them, and we will bring that to you in as soon as we possibly.
And this is just a detail. I want to announce it because they have publicly shared it. So this is just in the spirit of passing it on. It does say, due to the active crime scene at the Target parking lot, vehicles in the parking lot can actually not be released until after the investigation is complete. So if you by chance are watching us and you're in that parking lot or trying to get to your car, they're asking you to please arrange alternate transportation home. They will provide an update as soon as they can so that people can get their cars. But if you've been removed from the parking lot without your car, unfortunately, for some period of time, you will not be able to have your car.
Those cars become part of the crime scene.
Exactly.
100%.
And this crime scene is extensive.
Right.
Correct.
And so it's good, and obviously we'll let you know when you can pick up your car if this does impact you and you can't get to your car at the moment. But again, yes, in these situations, everything that is in the area that is cordoned off is part of a crime scene investigation and therefore cannot move. And sometimes those cars can be indicators of what happened. There may be bullet holes in the cars
100.
that can give a trajectory of
Shell
where it was coming
casings
from. Yes,
under a
right.
car, even potentially if the person arrived via car, fingerprints in the area as well. So all of that, of course, is a part of this now widespread investigation.
But for many, that just means it's another inconvenience.
That's right.
Of having a vehicle, a tool that you need to carry on with your daily life.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to say, first you're traumatized by this, then you can't get to your vehicle.
Right.
But they need to investigate.
This has been a tragic scene that has unfolded here on a Monday afternoon, just about 2:45 o'clock here, as kids were getting ready to go back to school and doing back to school shopping. We have been on the air with you since about 3 o'clock, where we learned that there was a shooting at the Target at Olin and 183. APD has confirmed to us that 2 people have been killed in this, and a child is among those who have been hurt. We are working to learn the extent of exactly how many other victims there are, and we're awaiting a news conference from APD to get that information so that we can bring it to you.
That's right. And I know we have our 4 o'clock show that is going to be happening. I believe we are going to continue to bring you this breaking news at this hour because there's still so much more that we need to know, that you need to know. And I know Austin Police are getting ready to give us all of that information.
We do want to reiterate about a couple of closures that are in the area, a couple of roads that we learned about that were closed as people were leaving this area. This will be off limits to the public. Our Darenisha Heron had told us which roads were closed for people in that area, and that remains to be the case, correct?
She's joining us now.
So as far as we know, the 8,000 block of Mopac southbound frontage road down between Executive Center Drive and Anderson Lane are closed. They haven't updated that at all.
All right, let's go to this press conference from the Austin Police Department about this breaking news, the shooting at the Target at Olin and 183. Let's listen in. Setting up, it's going to take them a moment. So, Darenisha, go ahead.
Yeah, I told you guys I was going to keep track of what's happening on social media, and Austin Police Department just posted that due to the active crime scene at the Target on Research Boulevard, vehicles in the parking lot cannot be released until the initial investigation is complete. So if you were in that parking lot when all of this happened, you're probably stuck there. Your vehicle will be stuck there, and this investigation, as we know, will probably take hours. So.
And this investigation, as they collect evidence, it can accordion. We don't know exactly how long that area will be cordoned off as the investigators take notes, talk to witnesses, collect the evidence, really scour through the whole parking lot for every clue they can find.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
And I just want to point out, I know they're getting ready, but on the scene, just to orient everybody, is of course Chief Lisa Davis. She is wearing the baseball cap. To her left is Robert Lukritz. He is the chief of Austin Travis County EMS. And then we also, of course, have an official from the Austin Fire Department on the scene as well.
And plenty of media on scene as well. You can see photographers popping in and out to set up their microphones there just to make sure that we can hear everything they have to say. This is usually what happens as we prepare to bring you the latest from law enforcement. There's a lead up to these moments, but that shows that in just any moment we'll be able to hear what they have to say.
Yes.
All right, everybody ready? Yeah. Okay, all right. I'm Lisa Davis, Chief of Police, Austin.
Please speak up.
Lisa Davis, Chief of Police for Austin. The police were initially called here at 2:15 p.m. for a hotshot call. Officers arrived within 4 minutes. When officers arrived, they were met with 3 people that were shot inside the parking lot of Target. The suspect fled the scene, stole a car from the scene, took that car, wrecked that car, then hijacked another car. He was then found by Austin PD in South Austin, where he was taken into custody after a tasing. We have 3 people that are deceased. This is a very sad day for Austin. It's a very sad day for us all. And my condolences go out to the families. At this point, looking at the suspect, we have a male white suspect who appears to be 32 years of age, does have a mental health history, but all of that is very new. This is a new, very early in the investigation at this point, but he has been apprehended. I'd like to thank our public safety partners again. It is quite amazing to arrive on scene here and see fire and EMS, Austin AISD, all here helping and supporting. At this point, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Chief Lutgritz for some words.
Good afternoon, Robert Lutgritz, Chief of Austin Travis County EMS. Austin Travis County EMS received our initial calls at around 2:19 p.m. 4 minutes later, first units arrived on scene at 2:23 p.m. The initial responding units arrived and found 3 victims. Two of those were pronounced on scene by Austin Travis County EMS. 1 was transported to a local hospital where they were pronounced at the hospital. In addition, 1 additional individual was treated on scene for unrelated injuries. At that point, I'll turn it back over to Chief Davis.
All right, do you have anything? All right, we'll take a few questions, and again, understanding this is a very new investigation.
Do we know what led to this?
Hijacked, and I want to know where that car was hijacked and if the person who was driving that car was injured.
At this point, we believe that was one of the people that was shot, but it was in the Target parking lot where the first car was taken. The first car crashed. The subject then ran into, I believe it was a Volkswagen dealership to take another car.
And if that car was hijacked from the Volkswagen dealership?
I believe so, yes.
What led to the shooting?
We don't know if there was an altercation or what. At this point, we're looking at video. People that are within Target are moving out of Target. We're moving some over here to the PetSmart and the Dollar General. If their car was involved or anywhere near the scene, they're going to have to stay here until the investigation's over and get another ride out of the area. But at this point, we're not sure what. Not that anything could, perpetrate this, but.
But no sense if it was random or if there was something that led up to it.
Exactly. Yes. I can't hear you.
Sorry. Do we know how many people were in the store when it happened?
How many people were in the store? No, I don't know.
It happened outside the store, not.
It happened outside the store. Yes.
Can you share anything about the victims?
We do not. I don't know anything about the victims at this point. No.
There was a child?
I don't know that yet.
Yeah, we see that you take a lot of people inside of that store. What is that?
That's right. So those are, yes, that's emptying Target. We want to empty the store and reunite them and get them out of here if they were not a witness to the scene. But the cars are going to have to stay here until we're done with the scene.
Can you tell us where in South Austin the suspect was apprehended?
I'm not sure. JJ, do you have an address in South Austin?
It's the 2400 block of La Costa.
2400 block of La Costa.
Does he have any connection there, or that's just where he was found?
That's just where he was found.
Was there a chase that led you guys?
No, I believe it was a call for service. I believe the subject got out of the car. Another person called. I don't know what the behaviors were at that point. And again, we're talking, this is within the last 25, 30 minutes. So I want to get this information as quickly as possible to you. So what that call for service was, I'm not aware of. But officers responded quickly and an apprehension was made.
Which dealership was it?
All I know is it was a Volkswagen that was taken. I don't know if it was a Volkswagen dealership, but it was a Volkswagen.
Any prior arrests?
He does have a rap sheet here with us, but there is some emergency holds, detention holds.
One more question.
Again, our thoughts are with the family. This is a tragic time. Our thoughts are with the officers and EMS and fire who have to come and do the work here at the scene, forensics, everyone that's doing the scene. Again, a special thanks to AISD for coming over and helping out. It's a big scene, a lot of cooperation, and truly impressive the amount of cooperation that the city alone does together. So thank you all for coming. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, and that was Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis telling us the latest with this investigation that they have so far. Basically, to bring you up to date with what she was saying, she said that police got the call about the shooting at around 2:15 this afternoon. She said they arrived within 4 minutes of that call. 3 people they found shot in the parking lot.
And sadly, an update to what we had been reporting, there are 3 who are deceased. We had learned earlier there were 2, but now the police updated that number to say that there were 3 people who were shot and deceased. A 4th person was treated on scene for injuries not related to this, and that the suspect in this is a 32-year-old man who was familiar to police, who had dealt with some mental health issues, who had carjacked a car after stealing one and crashing that. And that the apprehension came after a tasing. That person is in custody at this point.
As part of this as well, given the fact that this person had a mental health history, a documented mental health history, part of the investigation too now will turn to this person's ability to acquire some sort of firearm, which he clearly had, and his ability to acquire a firearm, how exactly that happened, where he may have obtained that firearm as well. That will also become part of the investigation. And in addition to that, she said this person does have a criminal history. That will be part of the investigation as well, going back into the court's file to try to figure out what that history is and looks like from a criminal perspective, whether or not that person was recently in custody, incarcerated, may have been recently released. All of those questions will be questions that will now become part of this investigation as well, given now that officers and investigators have established at least some preliminary information about their knowledge of this 32-year-old gunman.
And once the gunman is processed, put into the system, that's when they will possibly release his name.
That's correct, and that takes some period of time, as well as a determination about what exactly charges he will face. It is, of course, presumable, given that there are tragically fatalities in the situation, that that person will be charged with murder. But in addition to that, in these types of major investigations, we also see a suspect facing additional charges as well. But again, trying to learn everything they can about this suspect will become a priority for law enforcement as well.
Yeah, Chief Davis calling this a sad day for Austin, saying that so many law enforcement and agencies collaborated very quickly to get this person off of the streets. He actually covered quite a bit of ground going from North Austin.
Just thinking that as well.
And apprehended in South Austin. That's about how many minutes on the road?
You know, 15, 20 in the road. And of course, another major part of this as well is what happened at the conclusion of all of this. She gave us some insight that there was a call for law enforcement service, I believe she said, by someone in South Austin. This person obviously did resist arrest in some way, given the fact that she said that a taser was deployed to take him into custody. It might be some time, though, before authorities release the full identification of that person. It can take some period of time to get someone into jail, to formally book them, and then for law enforcement investigators to release that person's identity.
Right, and of course, I know Chief Davis was talking about how she didn't really know anything about the victims in this case. It's going to take a little bit of time to find out who they are, to contact their families and let them know about this tragedy.
We also learned from that news conference that for the shoppers who were in the Target that were not witnesses to the actual shooting, they will be reunited with their loved ones and escorted away from the Target parking lot area. That is if you are not a witness. But if you had a car that is in the parking lot, that vehicle will have to remain there until police release it as part of their crime scene processing.
That could take some time.
That could take some time. So some of these people will have to find alternate ways to get to where they have to go.
Indeed, and as law enforcement continues their effort, again, they are going to leave no stone unturned, getting any sort of visual images they can from Target, being in touch with authorities from corporate Target as well as on the ground management of that store, working with them collaboratively to get any sort of information, visuals, including video, any sort of photographic evidence that may have shown whether or not this gunman entered the store or what exactly happened outside in that parking lot. But based on what the chief was describing, and this was a question that, of course, in the earliest moments of this, we were wondering, was this perhaps a random attack or whether or not the suspect and victims were known to each other. But at this point, given what she said, her statements, it is presumable that this appears to have been some sort of random attack.
We're following 3 people who have been shot and killed in a Target parking lot here on the north side of Austin on 183. Big developing story that we're following. We've got much more to unpack for you. If you're watching KVUE News at 4, we'll be right back after we take a short break.